Welcome to Gracefully Graying. I am your host, Attorney Henry Gornbein. Today on Gracefully Graying, I am pleased to welcome Attorney George Googasian, who has had a wonderful career in life, and we are going to be exploring many issues with him during this show. So without further ado, let me welcome George Googasian as our guest on Gracefully Graying. George,
Good
welcome.
morning, Henry. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Good seeing you. First of all, tell us what you remember about your childhood.
I have very vivid memories of my childhood. It was a very pleasant childhood. I remember distinctly the friends that I had in my childhood, frankly, are still friends that I enjoy today and meet with, both male friends and lady friends. But a couple of my closest friends are the Vaquero boys. My brother and I used to sit on the floor of my family living room and listen on the radio, because we didn't have anything more than a radio, and listen to the Michigan football games. Those two brothers are still friends. I meet them for lunch and we talk about old times, and the saying goes, old friends are the best friends. The other two friends that I have intimate contact with are two lady friends that I met in junior high school. I tease that they taught me how to kiss, because we would play spin the bottle and you had to kiss a girl after that. But they're still dear friends, and I really have a lot of wonderful friends from childhood that I've lost, but those are four that I've retained, and I feel very fortunate about that.
George, why did you decide to become an attorney?
I grew up in a family where my parents had decided early on that my brother and I were going to college. And for me, they decided I was either going to be a doctor, a dentist, or a lawyer. And at sixth grade at Weaver School, my teacher, Miss Adkins, had us do a play about the Lizzie Borden trial. And she had me act as the Clarence Darrow, the defense lawyer, defending Lizzie Borden. And at the same time, we had weekly readers that featured him and his many trials across the United States. And I fell in love with him, and I always wanted to be a criminal defense lawyer after that. And I didn't change my view until I was actually in law school and got an internship at the United States Attorney's Office. And that changed my view, but it didn't change my view from wanting to be a lawyer. It changed my view from wanting to be a defense lawyer to wanting to be a federal prosecutor. So George, it's been a long time objective of mine.
Well, you succeeded well. What are some of your favorite activities?
Over the years, my activities have changed. I was an avid runner. I've run 5 marathons, including the Boston Marathon. After I couldn't run anymore, I began biking, and I still bike. I bike with a group in Petoskey called the Thirsty Thursday Riders. And it's a group of elderly gentlemen, all professional businessmen, who get together every Thursday morning, ride about 15 to 20 miles, come back, and then have lunch together. And these gentlemen are doctors, businessmen, very successful people, presidents of corporations, one president of a university, and we have very meaningful discussions, but we're from all parts of the country. with all kinds of backgrounds, and the discussions are really exciting, and it's been a source for me to acquire lots of new friends, and that is an activity that I'm still able to do, and I'm looking forward to it in May of this year. Also, I've since my 40s and my running time, I've worked out in the gym, so I've tried to stay very athletic, and it helps me in my current age. It helps me a lot in being able to do things that I've always
What about
enjoyed.
travel?
I'm sorry.
What about travel, George?
Well, travel, Phyllis and I have always enjoyed travel. I think our favorite spot is Tahiti. We just loved the islands of Tahiti and the lifestyle there. We went there 3 times. We also enjoy Hawaii. I guess one of our really favorite trips was various places in Europe. We did biking trips in Italy and Ireland, and we traveled to the United Kingdom. We love travel. It hasn't been a major part of our lives, but it has been an expanding part of our lives. Visiting other countries, seeing other people is very expanding to the mind and to your interests. So travel is important. I think my first trip ever outside of Michigan and Chicago was when I was in college. I was fortunate enough to get a job as a bus driver at Glacier National Park. I'd never been outside of Michigan except one trip to relatives in Chicago. So seeing Glacier National Park and being what they called a gear jammer, which is a bus driver who drives over the mountains with a bunch of people on a tour of the mountains, and was trained to name all the mountains and all the leaves and all the trees and all the natural circumstances of Glacier. It expanded just greatly my view of America. I'd never seen anything outside of Pontiac, Michigan, and Ann Arbor, Michigan. So travel from that beginning and to places around the world is just so expanding of the mind and opportunities. Yeah, we enjoy travel.
What are some of your favorite foods?
Foods? Well, I come from an Armenian background. And so pilaf, which is an Armenian kind of rice, and kebab, which is lamb on the skewer. That was a favorite and still is a favorite dish. I also like what we call baklava. My Greek friends call it baklava, but it's a beautiful pastry that my mother used to make, and I used to be amazed watching her. She'd take a little tiny ball of dough and roll it with a broomstick until it was so thin when she held it up you could read a newspaper through it. And then she would cut that into small pieces, layer them with honey and in between, and put it in the oven, and these flakes would just be beautiful. Traditional Armenian meals were part of my growing up, and now we still enjoy them, and our children and grandchildren enjoy them, but in not as everyday meals. We used to have them as everyday meals, but today they're treats.
What about hobbies? I mean, you mentioned biking and keeping fit. Are there any other hobbies that you do? I know law is a jealous mistress and takes a lot of time, but any other hobbies?
Yeah, I right now, I don't know if I'd call it a hobby or not, but I do a lot of Sudoku. I have a Sudoku book, when I wake up in the morning, I grab my Sudoku book and try to do a Sudoku puzzle. Otherwise, to keep myself sharp, I am still practicing in certain areas of the law. I'm very active with the Attorney Discipline Board, hearing cases. I also do pro bono legal work, and I enjoy doing things to help the profession raise money for people who are less fortunate. And I try to keep up with the law because it changes so readily in today's world. It's changing very, very fast. But I've tried to keep up with the practice without putting myself in major trials or being responsible for major case requirements.
I know you're part of a very prominent law firm specializing in what? Personal injury negligence. George,
Yeah, that
other than
is
your childhood friendships, what other friendships are important to you at the present time?
well, the friendships that are important to me in the profession are lawyers that I've worked with, and actually my best friends. I'm a plaintiff's lawyer, but actually my best friends have turned out to be defense lawyers that I tried cases against, and as a result of the trials, win or lose, we became dear friends. And I have this new group of young friends, and it's important to me. I call them young friends because in the Thirsty Thursday Riders, I'm the oldest of the group, but there's nobody there that isn't 70 or 80 years old. And so acquiring new friends is very important because you tragically lose some of your very best friends. And, I've lost, like anyone my age has, my best friends growing up, my best friends in college, my best friends as lawyers and judges. So you keep acquiring new friends, and I like to have friendships with lawyers because we talk the same language, and we just enjoy talking about our past victories and losses and friendships and reactions to judges and courtrooms and cases. So, yeah, that's, and I've tried, and I have had the ability to keep connections with my grade school friends, my junior high school friends, my high school friends, my college friends, and my law school friends. I have kept connection with somebody in all of those venues, and I still enjoy the saying, old friends are the best friends.
That's wonderful. George, what invention from your lifetime are you most amazed by?
To me, Henry, that's an easy question. The iPhone. The iPhone is amazing to me. I remember when it first came out, I said, I don't want a phone that I carry in my pocket. When I ride my bike, when I'm in my car, I want to have my mind open and clear. I don't want it to be cluttered with phone calls from clients or the office or anything like that. Today, if I leave my home without my iPhone, I immediately stop, go back and get my iPhone. What happens in that little iPhone is just incredible. One year when I was president of chairman of the Oakland County Democratic Committee, we were trying to put materials together in an election to identify voters. The Republicans had the General Motors computer in Flint, Michigan. And it was a huge computer, took up an entire wall. And it was how they tracked what was going on. We had to do it on little 3x5 cards, identify them, write it, and then put it in a file. Today, you can carry more material in the iPhone than you can put in every library in the world. Everything that you can think of is in or available, that is in or unavailable in an iPhone. That's incredible to me. Plus the ability to take pictures. Great photographers say, what's the best camera to take a picture with? And the answer is the one that's in your pocket. And the iPhone is always in your pocket. We see it on television. We see it in crime scenes. We see it in families. The exciting moments are captured on an iPhone because it's available. So it does everything. It's a remarkable device. And that to me is the most exciting change in humanity in my lifetime.
George, what have been some of the highlights of your career as a lawyer? And I know you had a very illustrious long one.
The highlights of my career in my professional life of being an attorney are number one, being president of my local bar association and of the State Bar of Michigan. Those were high honors. They were positions that I took seriously and I worked hard at and tried to make a difference in the state and in the nation in those positions. I also had my professional career was in litigation, and I always enjoyed the trial. My early career was as a defense lawyer. I then kind of transitioned by just happenstance to the plaintiff side, and then I became a plaintiff lawyer. And I particularly enjoyed doing that because as a plaintiff lawyer, you are able to help people who have been injured or damaged fight against the government or corporations. And those institutions have great resources and great lawyers, and you're able to fight on behalf of those disadvantaged people in all kind of cases. One of my most well-remembered case was a case of a doctor who was being deported. He was a medical doctor and he was being deported by the federal government because he refused to serve in the American Army after he had served his 2 years in the Argentine Army. And I tried that case in federal court before a judge called Judge Loud and Clear. And the statute was rather direct in saying that he could have been deported. But the judge, after a trial, which we brought in four doctors from the hospital he worked at, people who had read his writings, how he had advanced medicine by being a medical doctor in Pontiac, Michigan. And Judge Loud and Clear in federal court decided in our favor. And it was a great victory, in large part because both my parents were immigrants. My father from Russia, my mother from orphanages in Turkey. And those people really need representation then and today. And so those were kind of the highlights. In the peak of my career, I did a lot of medical malpractice cases, some which were very, very challenging and very difficult that other lawyers wouldn't take on. And when I was successful in those cases, I was able to take care of families who had otherwise been devastated by what I considered wrongdoing. So those are some of the professional highlights. I also
What about personal highlights of your life?
Well, the highlights of my life revolve around my wife. Nothing happens in my life that she isn't responsible for. My children, my grandchildren, and now I happen to be fortunate enough to have 9 grandchildren, 1 great-grandchild who lives with us, so I see him every day. And they are the heart and soul of my life, who keep me on my toes and who fill my life with love and joy every single day. I have found that as one ages, the most important thing in life are relationships, love relationships with family and friends. And I really feel fortunate to have those. And those people are very, very important in my life. I keep in touch with them by texting on cell phone, emailing on cell phone, and talking and visiting and traveling. They have made life much more full. And this part of my life, I'm 90 now, so this part of my life is really rich because of my children, my grandchildren, my great-grandchild, and my family in general.
George, I want to thank you for sharing some of the highlights of your life and memories with us. It's been a pleasure having you. You are 90 years of age and still going strong, and it has been a pleasure having you. And I want to thank you for being our guest on Gracefully Graying. And of course, I want to thank Bloomfield Cable and our viewers and sponsors for making Gracefully Graying possible. Thank you again.